How's it going, everybody? I think we are live, so welcome into the live. I'm gonna maybe give the system about 30 seconds or a minute to start on everybody's devices. I've got a couple devices up, and some of them are showing me live, some are not. If you are here in the chat, please let me know. Hello, good morning. We're doing a vertical YouTube live stream this morning. Doing a vertical YouTube live. How's it going, everybody? Let me type in the chat. Hello, hello. Let's see. Are all the devices showing live? Let me know where you are from. If you're just starting out learning Mandarin Chinese, if you already know some Mandarin Chinese, who am I? My name is Kenan Heppy. I am somebody who learned Mandarin Chinese as an adult, and it completely changed my life. It made all my dreams come true. I ended up becoming famous in China, acting in big budget films and TV shows in China. Grew millions of followers on Chinese social media. My income rose to the point where I was able to buy a home and travel the world, all because of Mandarin Chinese. I firmly believe that Chinese is a skill magnifier. That is, if you already have some kind of skill. For me, it was acting, but whether you're a doctor, an engineer, a lawyer, any trade, right? If you take any skill and stack Mandarin Chinese on top of it, you're able to bring your skill to a thriving, huge market and just absolutely explode your potential. So that is what we are all about right now. How's it going, everybody? BB Blue, ni hao. Hello, Yix. Hello. Oh, I am not able to read Russian. I'm sorry about that. What would that be? Zhenya? Is that Zhenya? Hello, hello. And hey, Batul, welcome back. All right, so without further ado, we're going to get started here. So for those of you who are just finding me for the first time, if you are just starting out learning Chinese, if you haven't started at all, this is the perfect place for you. And if you already understand a lot, you know a lot of Chinese, but you're hitting a plateau, you're realizing your pronunciation isn't as good as you would have hoped, you're also in the right place, all right? Because I'm known as the Chinese tones guy. I firmly believe that the right way, the best way to study Mandarin Chinese is to build a rock-solid foundation of pronunciation and tones as early as possible. So if you're just starting out, you are in the right place. This is absolutely the best move you can make. If you've already been studying for a little bit, don't worry. We can repair the foundation and we can make your Mandarin Chinese learning journey just that much better. So I met a lot of foreigners in China who had great vocabulary. They tested at HSK 5 or 6, but they couldn't hold conversations with people. Their own pronunciation was just pretty bad. And they couldn't differentiate tones from Chinese people who were speaking with them. So they could read Chinese texts. They could text and write Chinese with people. But fluid conversation was very, very difficult for them. They ended up having to essentially learn Chinese twice because they had to unlearn all of the incorrect pronunciations they originally had and then learn everything again. So what I tell people is, don't learn Chinese twice. Learn it correctly once. How quickly did I learn? I spent many months perfecting tones and pronunciation. And then within a year and a half, I was already on stage performing live in Mandarin Chinese, doing science experiments, all in Chinese, negotiating my own contracts in Chinese, building deeper relationships and meeting a lot of Chinese friends and just chatting about whatever. It just wasn't a struggle. So that is what I hope to help anyone here achieve. I'm also realizing that the frame of my shot, I'm kind of cut off, aren't I? It's like I'm getting cut off at the hair. Oh, well. Okay, so how can I see the chat, live chat? There we go. Good morning. It's 4 p.m. here in Germany. Oh, awesome. 我爱说中文. Yeah, 我也爱说中文. 我父母是中国人，但我的中文不太好. No worries, Wix. You are in the right place. So, I probably should have been sharing these photos as I was talking about that. But again, if you're just finding my channel, you're just finding me, you're like, who is this guy? I don't trust him. Or I don't know if I trust him. These are some shots of the movies I was in China and TV shows, all because I took the plunge and learned Chinese. Okay, so Chinese can absolutely help your dreams come true. For me, it was being in movies. I got to work with internationally renowned directors like Zhang Yimou, the director of Hero. I was in his movie Snipers. I got to be the lead antagonist Mike Evans in the Chinese original Three Body Problem, Santi. Netflix, of course, made a remake in English. I believe the Chinese version is more true to the actual book. You can find it on Amazon Prime. I play the lead antagonist there. Whatever your dreams are, right? If you want to do business in China, if you want to increase your income potential, if you want to be in movies like me, if you have a Chinese spouse or partner and you want to communicate on a deeper level, then this is the place for you. All right, so today, what are we going to do? We're going to do some warm-up vocabulary. We're going to talk about financial news. So some financial news in Chinese. We're going to cover some HSK 3 reading and grammar, and HSK 4 and 5 vocab, and some extras. Yeah. Let's see. How can develop... Allah Mohammed says, yeah, random, just a year and a half. After a year and a half, that's all it was taking me. Of course, it's... And here's the thing. Chinese is not a 0 or 1 on or off question. And I see that as kind of a fallacy people get into when they're just starting out. They're like, oh, I'm not fluent. And then their mind just thinks they have 0 Chinese. You just need to have more Chinese capability than most of your peers, which, by the way, is just a little bit. So if you learn just a little bit of Mandarin Chinese, enough to become professionally useful, to introduce yourself, to have some conversation, you're already ahead of most people in most other countries. So learning Mandarin Chinese it could be a lifelong journey, but you can become professionally useful very, very quickly. So, all right, so today, let's just jump right into it. We have some news as of today. This was printed today in China. Excuse me there. I'll go ahead and read this. So I'm going to read this text. I would like, if you are just learning, if you're just starting out, just try to tune into my ears and listen. If you already know some of these words, try to pick them out. I'm going to read the text first, then we're going to go over some important vocabulary, and then we'll read it again. All right. 美贸易代表特朗普对数十国关税已基本确定，未来几天不再调整。That's the headline. All right. 上周四，特朗普公布了一系列针对60多个美国贸易伙伴出口商品的新关税，其中包括对加拿大相当多商品设定了35%的关税，对巴西设定50%关税，对印度设定25%关税，还对瑞士设定了39%的关税。All right, there it is, everybody. Let me know 1 in the chat if you understood any of that. Let me know number 2 in the chat. So type a 1 in the chat if you understood any of that. Go ahead, type a 2 in the chat if you were able to pick out some words. All right. Go ahead, type a 1 in the chat if you understood. Sorry. I'm just reading some comments. I think my comments are coming in a little late. Sorry about that. I will try to respond to as many comments as possible. So go ahead, drop your name in the chat. Tell us why you are learning Chinese. I would love to get to know you. Okay, so everybody. Oh, someone heard Canada. Scooby heard Canada. That's right. 加拿大. So we're going to go over some vocabulary. As the Chinese tones guy, I want to firmly emphasize importance on tones. Tones absolutely matter. Do not believe people who say they don't matter. Okay, so quick review, right? The first tone is the high, flat, and unchanging tone. All right, and luckily Mandarin Chinese, you don't have to have perfect pitch like a musician, right? We just need to learn 4 tones. The second tone is the rising tone. Okay, and it starts in the middle of our normal speaking range. The third tone is the falling and rising tone. And the fourth tone is the falling tone. All right, I'm told that my YouTube is telling me, please use keyframe frequency. I don't know what that issue is there. Okay, so is everyone cool on the tones? Please take a screenshot of this, study this. If you're liking what you're seeing here, by the way, if you understand that your pronunciation for Chinese, you either need a strong foundation or to improve your foundation, go ahead, go to thechinesedojo.com, join my waitlist. This is a program I'm making with no AI, real human feedback to help people get immaculate Mandarin Chinese to help increase the speed at which you can become fluent. The people who join my waitlist are going to get the best deal in the program. Okay, so some basic vocabulary here. Oh, someone said very small amount. I could read like 5% of the characters but could not understand any of the text. Okay, just 出口 and 未来. All right. Well, all right, guys. So that means that we are going to learn something today, which is really, really exciting. All right, so let's go over some basic vocabulary rate. And by the way, thank you all for supporting the channel. You know, if you want to learn Chinese for any reason, please consider subscribing. It helps out the channel tremendously. I really, really appreciate you for that. Okay, so without getting political, let's learn some vocabulary. 特朗普, 特朗普, that's Donald Trump, all right? It's important to know how to say the name of the President of the United States. So we're going to learn some vocabulary. You're going to be able to chat with some Chinese friends about some of this stuff. All right, 特朗普. That's a fourth tone, third tone, third tone. Pronounced as fourth tone, second tone, third tone. When we have 2 consecutive third tones in a row, the first of the pair is pronounced with a second tone. All right, so 特朗普, 特朗普. Go ahead and just repeat after me. Listen and try to mimic me. 特朗普, 特朗普. Great. You just said Trump in Chinese. All right, we're getting rolling. We're cooking with gas. Oh, Soul says huge vouch for the program. That's right. Soul is in the focus group. He's doing an incredible job, by the way. All right. 公布, 公布. That's to announce. 公布, 公布. All right, can you tell me in the chat, what tones do we have here? In 公布, 公布. What tones do we have? Can you type them in the chat? Type them in the chat. Yik says, is Thursday night 星期四? Dakota, this is live. We are live, my friend. Why? Does it not seem live? What's going on? How's it going, everybody? 星期四 is another way of saying Thursday. Congratulations, Yix. Good for you. But 周四 is also a way to say Thursday because 周 means week. All right. 公布, that's right. That's first tone, fourth tone. First and fourth. Great. 公布. All right. Thursday. 周四. 周四. Now, counting and naming things like months and days, super easy in Chinese. It could not be simpler. So this is literally like saying the day number or week number 4 or day number 4. 周四. And Monday would be 周一 because of 1. Tuesday is 周二. Wednesday, 周三. Thursday, 周四. So you're basically just counting. I don't know if you know this, but the months in Mandarin Chinese are basically, you just say month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4. Yeah. 一月 is January. 一月, 二月, 三月 is January, February, March. Okay. So Brazil, 巴西. Carson says, my mom says Zhou is usually used in old Chinese calendars. It's used very colloquially. Like if you use this, and no one's going to tell you you're wrong. If you say 星期一 or 周一, it's the same. There are language streams that seem to be live, but in essence are an endless loop. Oh, that's no good. No, I don't want to do that. I am all about honesty and transparency, my friend Dakota. So no, we are live. I appreciate that though. Maybe the production value is high enough to where it looks more highly produced, but we are doing this live, baby. All right. Type a 1 in the chat if you're appreciating this kind of content, by the way. Type a 1 in the chat if you're liking this. Okay, everybody. Canada, 加拿大, 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 加拿大. All right, that's first tone, second tone, fourth tone. First tone, second tone, fourth tone. 加拿大, 加拿大. Then we have India, 印度, 印度, 2 fourth tones. 印度. Oh, thank you guys. Everyone's liking the content. Great. Then we have Switzerland. 瑞士. 瑞士. Okay, so that's kind of the basic vocabulary of this page. Now, let's go to the more advanced vocabulary in this section. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, guys. Well, if you appreciate this, I would love if you go to thechinesedojo.com and join the waitlist for my Tones Master program. It is perfect for people who are just starting out and perfect for people who have been learning for a while. All right, go ahead and join that waitlist. Okay, more advanced vocabulary. 出口商品, 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 that's exports, like the actual goods, the exported goods. 出口商品. So 出口 means exit. 商品 is a type of product. So exit products, exports. 出口商品. Tariff, all right? 关税. So you can probably guess now that the news article is about tariffs. 关税. 关税. 税 means tax, by the way. All right. 关税. That is first tone, fourth tone. 关税. Yes. Hey, tell me. So welcome in new viewers. Hey, I'm Kenan, the Chinese tones guy. I became famous in China and I ended up acting in Chinese movies, all because I took the plunge and decided to learn Mandarin Chinese as an adult. And how did I do it so quickly? I focused on tones and pronunciation from the very beginning. So if you do the same thing, I promise you, you can unlock your dreams. You can unlock more income, more relationships, more possibilities with Mandarin Chinese. So please stick around and help me help you achieve better pronunciation with Mandarin Chinese. In fact, I could let me know in the chat. You type a 1 if you want to see a quick little demo reel of me in the Chinese movies. I can maybe share a little demo clip. Okay, so to include, 包括, 包括. 包括 is to include. Series, 系列, 系列. And please repeat after me. We got to get these sounds not just in your ears but out your mouths too. So try to mimic. 系列, 系列. Trade is 贸易, 贸易. That's 2 fourth tones. 贸易, 贸易. Then we have to represent. 代表代表代表 and to define or to set 设定设定 All right, a couple people said they might want to check out these videos. So without further ado, let me share you some clips that only exist because I took the plunge to learn Mandarin Chinese as an adult. I said, you know, the Chinese market is just too big to ignore. There's too much opportunity there. What would happen? What would happen if I learned Mandarin Chinese and took my love for acting and performance over to China? Well, I'll show you what happens. That's a Hisense commercial. Oh no, really? Did you not? Was there no sound on the video? I'm so sorry. Yesterday, the sound on the video worked. My bad. There was audio, then it went away immediately after. No. Okay, I gotta fix that. Sorry about that. I don't want to spam my own like videos multiple times. So maybe in a little bit later, I'll I'll try that again. Yeah. Well, anyway, so let's go back to, so we just learned some basic and more advanced vocabulary. Let's go back to the news. So this is real news, okay? This is from finance.eastmoney.com. The link is posted below. So I'm going to reread this now that we've learned some vocabulary, okay? And let's see if you can pick out some of the things we just learned. I'm going to read it slowly, and maybe you can read it with me. Maybe you can read it with me. All right, so I'll try to drag my pencil here along, okay? 特朗普对 Can you see my Can you see that there? 特朗普对数十国关税已基本确定，未来几天不再调整。上周四，特朗普公布了一系列针对60多个美国贸易伙伴出口商品的新关税，其中包括对加拿大相当多商品设定了35%的关税，对巴西设定50%关税，对印度设定25%的关税，还对瑞士设定了39%的关税。All right. Okay, so real quickly, this is Trump. All right. The tariffs that were going to be imposed to dozens of countries have basically been, 已 is short for 已经 already, 已基本, which is basically 确定 is like locked or confirmed. So the tariffs that are going to be imposed on dozens of countries are basically confirmed. 未来几天, so for the coming days, 不再调整 will not be readjusted. So the tariff levels will not be adjusted for the coming days. Last Thursday, 上周四. Remember we just learned Thursday, 周四. If you add 上 in front of a date or a month, that means the last one of that date or month, right? So if 周五 is Friday, if I say 上周五, that means last Friday. If we say 下周四, that would be next Thursday. There's the character for 下. Boba says, I'm your best fan. Cyber Warrior says, hello, understandable. Oh, can you help me teach Chinese to standard 1 through 5, please? I'm a Malaysian. And if you can speak English, I can definitely help with your Chinese. If you speak English and you're learning Chinese, please consider subscribing and joining this program and joining my program. Okay. Where are we? Okay. 特朗普公布了. So Trump 公布了, announced. 公布 is to announce, right? And le is the particle that means something happened. It denotes past tense. So Trump announced a series, 一系列针对60多个. He announced a series of new tariffs to over 60 trading partners. All right, to over 60 trading partners. Sean says, yes, I can speak English. Then you are in the right place, brother. Learn Mandarin, English. How did you learn Chinese? I learned Chinese beginning with tones and pronunciation. I learned how to pronounce every single sound with all the tones. And I took tones and pronunciation very, very seriously. And then I just didn't give up. I'm still learning, right? But that's the beauty of language. Again, I want to emphasize this, y'all. You don't need to be as fluent as a native speaker for Chinese to change your life. You just need to know a little bit. You just need to know a little bit because most people don't know any. Most people, I would say in countries other than China, right? If I say most people in the world, you start to get into the actually most people do know Mandarin because China has such a large population. Most people outside of China don't know any Chinese. So for you to be competitive against them, if you just know a little bit, that can take you a long way. And that will give you the inspiration, right, and the energy to keep it going. So and Chinese people are so welcoming of foreigners who are learning Chinese, right, which is so great. Because if you demonstrate that you're taking Chinese seriously and that you care about learning the language, Chinese people are very, very welcoming to that. All right. So last Thursday, Trump announced a series of new tariffs against 60 trading partners of the U.S., right? Including 其中包括 including to Canada, right? 加拿大 including to a wide range of Canadian products, 35% tariff. Then what was 巴西 again? That was Brazil. So Brazil gets 50% tariffs. What's 印度? Do you remember what 印度 is? In the chat, type, let me know what 印度 is. And I have a little sip of tea. We're starting the day with Mandarin Chinese and tea. Does anyone remember what 印度 was? 印度. All right. That is India. Right, for anyone who typed chat, let's type that in the chat. Let's see. That's for anyone who typed Switzerland, you are going to be correct there. You are correct. 39% tariffs for Switzerland. All right. That's great. So I will read that text again now that we fully understand what we are saying. All right. I'm going to make a quick sound adjustment here for just a moment. All right. Okay, everybody. So we're going to reread this text one more time, the text below me, now that we fully understand what's going on, and now that we understand the words and the meaning. Okay. As I read this, please try to imitate if you can. I'm going to read it. I'm getting a notice. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Huh. That's weird. Okay. Just doing this on my own from a garage. There's a lot going on, you guys. Okay. So, breaking news. 美贸易代表特朗普对数十国关键已基本确定，未来几天不再调整。上周四，特朗普公布了一系列针对60多个美国贸易伙伴出口商品的新关税，其中包括对加拿大相当多商品设定了35%的关税，对巴西设定50%关税，对印度设定25%关税，还对瑞士设定了39%的关税。And there we are, everybody. Yick says, I can speak better than I can read or write. Growing up in an environment, I can take common speech from my parent. That's great. We have people from all different levels and interests here. So that was vocabulary of the day, you guys. And by the way, I would highly, highly recommend, if you are watching this right now and you are even remotely interested, maybe, in learning Mandarin Chinese, you are absolutely in the right place. Mandarin Chinese can change your life. It can make your dreams come true. It made my dreams come true. You can boost your income. You can make new friends, make deep relationships. You can have your business expand into a new market. So many possibilities. Make sure you do it with the right tones and pronunciation from the beginning. Language. The tones need to make sense to you. Otherwise, when you're hearing the words, you won't really have context for what you're even hearing. Your brain won't be able to parse out the sounds, and it becomes really, really difficult to make sense of things. You end up memorizing words incorrectly. There are some programs out there, by the way. I won't mention any. I think they rhyme with Fuo Shingo. The Fuo Shingos of the world will have you just memorize a bunch of words and things as if that helps you learn the language. That's not really how you learn a language. That's like trying to teach someone math by having them memorize a bunch of numbers. Like, okay, today I learned how to say 31. Tomorrow I learned how to say square root of 2. Does that mean I know how to do math? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Learn tones and pronunciation properly from the beginning. Join my waitlist. I'm running a focus group right now. And so the program has 3 pillars. There are video lessons that include theory and practice, kind of like this live stream right now. There's quizzes that test your comprehension. And then, most importantly, there's practice sessions where you send in your recordings and I grade them. I'm grading them all right now. Eventually, when the school expands enough, I'm going to have more like native Chinese teachers grade with me. But a human grades your tones and pronunciation and gives you real feedback. All right? A human grades that and gives you feedback. Let's see. I've used multiple Chinese apps for learning to read and write. Yeah. Well, if reading and writing were the only thing we had to do in this world, right? But when you're trying to communicate with, and that's great. I don't want to, discount the importance of reading and writing, of course. But most people get through most of the day through speaking and listening to others. Obviously, that's not true for everybody. But it's very, very important to learn how to parse out the sounds and create the different tones and pronounce everything properly. It is perfect for beginners starting from 0, if you already know some basics, and absolutely amazing for intermediate and advanced learners who maybe already know a lot of characters. Because why is that? You may realize through our program that you're pronouncing a lot of words incorrectly, and we're going to help you fix that. All right, so let's play a game now. Let's see. We have Nina Laevsky made a transparent comment. Let's see. Sean says, I will join. I need it very much. Yes, please join that wait list. The people who are on that list are going to get the best offer. The best offer. The early bird offer. But no matter what, I'm going to make sure it's super valuable for everybody. Okay. Superman says, bro, sometimes Chinese characters easy. Because, yeah, sometimes they are easy. I mean, look. The character for 1 is just a horizontal line. Sometimes they are easy. Sometimes they're insane. Insanely difficult. The upper hand. What is your goal with this channel, Kenan? I'm helping people learn Mandarin Chinese, and I'm helping their dreams come. I hopefully will help people achieve their dreams through Mandarin Chinese, the same way my dreams came true. I always wanted to be in big budget films and TV shows. I learned Mandarin Chinese. I ended up becoming quite, or at least kind of famous in China. I grew millions of followers on Chinese social media, and I got to be in big budget films and TV shows and work with my favorite director. I got to work with my dream director, all because I learned Mandarin Chinese. So I want to help other people achieve the same thing. Okay, everybody, let's play this matching game. Can we see this? Can we see these options here? So, all right, so let's match the pictures with the words, guys. So, 饮料, 饮料. Number 1, 饮料. Which one is that? Can you type in the chat? Which letter do you think this is? 饮料, 饮料. Let's see. If I'm standard 5 in a Chinese school in Malaysia, I don't know Chinese and terrible at all except English. Is that the new Hollywood? Let's see. Someone says B. Someone says Y. Trousers. We got some guesses. All right. We got some guesses. I'm going to let those roll in. Okay. For anyone who said D, that is correct. Beverage. 饮料. 饮料 is beverage. All right. So what about 花茶? 花茶. First tone, second tone. 花茶. 花茶. Which one is that? Which one is 花茶? And then which one is 绿茶? 绿茶. I'm actually going to drink a little 绿茶 right now. That's right. 花茶 is C. That's flower tea. Flower tea or scented tea. And 绿茶 is green tea. All right. Now, what about number 4? 水果. 水果. Oh, good. I love the participation. Look at everyone participating. This is great. You guys are inspiring me because I didn't know if me getting up at 7 a.m. to do a Mandarin Chinese teaching live stream, I didn't know if anyone was going to join, if people are going to work, if they thought, too early on a Monday morning. But look, we have more than 60 people in the chat. We got everybody participating. This is great. This is good energy. You're in a chat room full of people who I think care about their life and want to improve themselves and learn and like let's take this week by the reins and control it. Yes. 水果 is fruit. Now, 水果 has a third tone sandy. The third tone sandy is applied here because it has 2 third tones. So, even though 水 has a third tone and 果 has a third tone. This is pronounced as second tone, third tone. 水果,水果. Because when two third tones are consecutive in a pair, the first of the two is pronounced as a second tone. 水果,水果. All right. Now, what about 5? 衬衫,衬衫. Patel says, are you coming every day at this time? Superman says, where are you from? I won't be doing this every day. It takes, I put a lot of effort and work and time into creating these like lessons. I wish I could do it every day. Maybe 2 or 3 times a week though. Maybe 2 or 3 times a week. 衬衫 is B, that's right. I was born and raised in Virginia. When I was 13, my family moved to Oregon. And then I went to college. After college, I moved to Hollywood to become an actor, started acting. And when I was about 25 or 26, I decided to move to China to learn Mandarin Chinese and take my acting experience to the Chinese market. All right. Superman. What's up, Superman? That's right. And then lastly, we have 裤子, which by process of elimination is E. Yes, is E. The upper hand. The third tone, Sandy, is easily forgotten by me, Kenan. How do I do it involuntarily? A lot of drills. A lot of drills, my friend. You got to drill it, drill it, drill it. Superman says, West Virginia. I was born and raised in Northern Virginia, close to West Virginia. Yeah, close to, I was in a town, called Purcellville. Okay, so let's do some HSK3 reading. We'll do some HSK3 reading. And again, if you're liking this, if you're liking the vibe, the videos with the practice sessions that I created are going to be available at thechinesedojo.com. Join the waitlist. Just join the waitlist. I'm not going to spam you, I promise. But what I want to send you is the best offer once my focus group is concluded. I think I have a focus group member here in the chat. All right. The program is going to help you achieve Mandarin Chinese fluency much faster by helping you build a strong foundation of Mandarin Chinese tones and pronunciation. All right, so it's videos that include theory and a lot of practice opportunity. Quizzes that test your listening and comprehension. So you're going to listen to real audio clips made by real human beings, real native Chinese speakers. And then practice opportunities and practice quizzes where you listen and repeat. And then I or someone on my team actually evaluates your audios, right? So if I were a student, I'd be looking at this and I would record 不怕碧绿扑鼻捕鱼皮衣 and then send that audio back and then it gets graded. Oh my gosh, look at Lucy. Lucy's in the chat. Lucy is actually in the focus group. That's amazing. So Lucy's here. What's up? What is going on? Thank you so much, Lucy. Thank you. Lucy, you're doing an incredible job. Lucy and Sol, who was also here, are doing an incredible job. Lucy will record some of these practices, and she has become, she sounds like a native Chinese speaker now. It is wild. Lucy, with your permission, I would love to sometimes use a couple of your audio clips as a way to just show off. Lucy's working very hard. I hope that my course has something to do with it. Oh no, 不客气, yes, please join that waitlist. Because when you learn tones of pronunciation properly from the beginning, it will not take you nearly as long as you originally thought to become fluent and professionally useful in Mandarin Chinese. Okay, so let's go through this text. All right. So we have 小刚 and 小丽 again. Xiaogang says, 明天是晴天还是阴天? Xiaoli says, 阴天。电视上说多云，多云。怎么了？有事？没事，我们明天要去爬山。爬山的时候要小心点儿。好，你也去吗？我不去，我有事。That's funny. Oh, what does focus group mean? Superman. Focus group was basically so I ran kind of a raffle, sort of a contest. I asked all of my subscribers and followers who would like to be a part of a focus group in exchange for feedback. And it's basically the first round. It's a beta test round of my program before the wide release. So some people entered and they submitted their information and they got chosen to be a part of the focus group, and they are lending their time and energy to testing out the program for feedback before the general release. Awesome. The waiting list is for the first round. Let's see. Please use keyframe frequency. Now, hopefully this gets fixed again. Sorry, I'm getting a little error on the live. Can you type clear in the chat if you can see me clearly and hear me clearly, please? Could you please type clear in the chat if you can see me and hear me clearly? That'd be really helpful. Good Vibe says, I like this guy. What's up, man? I like you too. I like you too. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sean and Random. Oh, thanks, everybody. Okay. Yeah, so the waiting list, people who are on the wait list, when I'm ready to actually finally release the course and open the floodgates to anyone to take the course, the people on the wait list are going to get the best offer. So I'm going to give kind of an early bird offer and discount to people who are on the wait list. After that, it's going to be full price for anybody. And I spend a lot of time reviewing these feedback. You know, it's not automated. It's not sent to some AI to grade. I listen to all the recordings and then grade them. Okay. So, 明天是晴天还是阴天? Is tomorrow going to be clear skies or cloudy, overcast? 晴天, 晴天 versus 阴天. So 晴天 is going to be a sunny, clear day, and 阴天 is cloudy, overcast. All right. Then Xiaoli says 阴天, it's going to be cloudy. 电视上说多云. So it said the TV, or it said on the TV, basically the weather, right? We're implying that she saw the weather report, said it's going to be overcast and very cloudy. Why? 怎么了？有事? Why? What's up? Is there an issue? No issue. Nothing. 我们明天要去爬山. No, nothing. We're going to go climb a mountain tomorrow. It's funny. So in a lot of Chinese books, 爬山 is translated as to climb a mountain, which is a very literal translation. I would say in English, we might say we're going to go hiking. Some people literally do go mountain climbing, but caveat, when you're talking about, let's say, going to the Great Wall or taking like a walk up a hiking trail, in Chinese, you would also say 爬山, climb a mountain. In English, it's kind of different, right? You go hiking, but you would reserve mountain climbing, that qualifier, as like, okay, we're gonna get like the big backpacks on and bring like picks and pulleys and like literally climb a mountainside. So I just want to make sure that you understand that when you're saying 爬山 in Chinese, it could mean the simpler version of like taking a hike up a hiking trail. Let's see. But we got oh, thanks everybody. We got Superman says, "Bro, what's your Chinese zodiac? You look like Do you like Keanu Reeves? Keanu Reeves is awesome. I don't know what that has to do with my zodiac. 我是白羊座. I'm an Aries. 白羊座. All right. JC says, "Can you please teach me how to say yes and no?" Well, yes and no. Literally, I didn't mean that as a facetiously. I can sort of teach you that, and it depends on the context a little bit. So, in many ways, to say yes, you would say 是 or 是的. No, a refusal is a blanket refusal is like 不. So 是 versus 不. Okay? This means yes. Not in all contexts, okay? Because sometimes you have to repeat the verb phrase that someone just mentioned. Like if they say 喜不喜欢, you would say 喜欢 to say you like it. You wouldn't say yes, I like it. And you can negate things with other words other than 不. But yeah, 是 and 不 are like the main ways. And for more practice, you guys, more daily practice and things like that, please join the waitlist for my school and program, at thechinesedojo.com. Please check that out. Yeah, you're right. Okay. So 明天是晴天还是阴天？阴天。电视上说多云，怎么了？有事？没事，我们明天要去爬山。All right, 爬山的时候要小心点儿。小丽 says, when you're climbing the mountain or when you're hiking, you want to be a bit careful. 小心点儿，小心点儿. We want to be a bit careful. Then 小刚 says, 好。All right, like yes, I'll be careful. 你也去吗? Are you gonna go also? Are you coming along? Then 小丽 says, no, 我不去. I'm not going. 我有事. I've got other plans. That's funny. 小丽 is playing hard to get, you guys. 小丽 in some of these stories is showing that she's like interested in Xiaogang. Like she even says like, hey, please be careful when you're hiking. Please be careful. And then Xiaogang is like, oh, I'll be careful. Does that mean you're going? She's like, no, I'm not going. It's like, would you just say, Xiaoli, are you interested in me or not? Yeah. Yes or correct can be 对 as well. That's yes. So if you tell someone correct, you can say 对. You can also say 没错. 对 or 没错. Yeah, 不 is easy to remember. Just think of, oh, geez. Yeah, Dakota. I would try my best at the beginning to not associate Chinese words with English words or words in whatever your mother tongue might be. You know, we don't want our Chinese understanding to constantly have to go through a filter of another language. We want to try to be a blank slate. That's why in my program, the Tones Master at thechinesedojo.com, when I'm teaching sounds and tones, the initials and the finals and the tones, I really try to limit how much I say things like, oh, this sound is like this in English or similar to whatever sound in English. Because truly, they are different sounds. And we want to treat our mind like a blank slate. And we want to get to the core of our brain when we're teaching it these sounds. Because if you think about it, like if I learn 10 new sounds, and if every single one I go, oh, that's like this in English, and that's like that in Italian, and that's like this in English, then every time I'm listening into Chinese, I'm having to think in 2 or 3 languages. That's no good. Right? When we speak a language, we want to think only in that language. So we want to teach ourselves these concepts only in that language, if that makes sense. If that makes sense, please let me know. Let me know in the chat. Type a 1 if that makes sense and we're on board. Type a 2 if you're like, I don't like this guy. I don't like what he's saying. And even though he's not selling anything right now, I'm not buying it. I hope I don't see any 2s. But anyway. Okay, so Xiaogang and Xiaoli were just talking about the weather and going climbing. All right, so what do we have after that? The dialogue at the bottom here. Bro, you make me feel understanding, unlike the teacher in my country. Oh, Sean, that warms my heart. I feel bad for your teacher. You know, I think all people, teachers or sages or older brothers, older sisters, if you're ever in a position where you're having to try to impart knowledge and wisdom, right, it takes a lot of empathy. You want to think about what is going through the mind of the listener, truly. With less context and less understanding, what does it look like from their perspective? And you have to explain it from that perspective. All right. Fire says 1 and maybe 2. Okay. We're going to talk about in the mall. I'm going to zoom in here. Hopefully you can see this clearly. So Zhou Taitai says, in this sentence here, 你觉得这条裤子怎么样？你觉得这条裤子怎么样? And as I say this, if you can, if you're in a place where you can listen and repeat and mimic, go ahead. 你觉得这条裤子怎么样? Then Zhou Ming says, 我记得你已经有2条这样的裤子了. So Zhou Taitai says, what do you think about this pair of pants? 你觉得, what do you think about 这条裤子, this pair of pants? 怎么样? Zhou Ming says, 我记得你已经有2条这样的裤子了. I remember you already have 2 pairs of pants like this. Hi, just arrived now. 对不起, no problem, Denise, no problem. Zhou Taitai says, 那我们再看看别的. 那我们再看看别的. 我们再看看. Okay, so we'll have a look at what? 别的, others. So they said, what do you think of this pair of pants? You already have 2 pairs of pants like this. I remember you already have 2 pair of pants that are like this. All right, so let's check out some others. 这件衬衫怎么样? What about this shirt? 还不错啊. 多少钱? Oh, my stream says no data. I hope we didn't freeze. Can we type clear in the chat if we are clear? Can you see me, hear me clearly, everybody? 看看. Yeah, so kan means to see or to watch. And some verbs, if you duplicate them, it makes it a little more casual, the looking or the seeing. So if we say, oh, 在看看, 看看, it's kind of like having a look. It's making the act of looking or watching a little less formal, so a little more casual. Harrison Scott says, how often do you do this? I'm hoping to do this more often. Are you liking this? Let me know. How often should I do this? Tell me in the chat how often I should do this, everybody. Okay. 还不错. 多少钱?多少钱? That's how much does it cost? 这上面写着320元. So it's written on above that it's 320 yuan or kuai. 320 renminbi. Right? And right now, what's the exchange rate? Is it $1 for like 7? Right? So 320 divided by 7. Really quickly, what is that, everybody? That should be what? 35 point something, between $35 and $36. Something like that. So for the shirt. And then Zhou Taitai says, 买一件. Buy one. 买一件. Buy one. So it's a pretty good shirt. Buy one of them. People are saying, this is great. Thanks. 3 times a week. 2 to 4 sounds wonderful. 给我看看. Oh, cool. Okay, everybody. Yeah, I'm going to try. I'm going to try to at least twice a week. That'd be awesome if I could do 3 times a week. Okay. Now, we just looked at a certain grammar point, and I want to point this out. So a little bit of grammar. Okay, so here's a grammatical formula. Because we just talked about there being a price written on a tag. 上面写着. 写着. So, location word plus a verb with this character next to it, 着, plus a numeral, plus a measure word, plus a noun phrase. This means that there is something somewhere, okay? So, for instance, on the table, then we have the verb with 着, 放着, and then the noun phrase, 一杯咖啡. So, on the table is placed 1 cup of coffee or a cup of coffee. This is how we say, there's a cup of coffee on the table. There's a cup of coffee on the table. Oh man, sorry. Sorry about the freezing there, everybody. Yeah, I need to check if it's I can't tell if it's my internet or the fact that I'm trying to stream like high quality video and all these images and my computer is not the greatest. So really my apologies there. You think we're good? Okay, I hope we're good. Sorry about that. Yeah, my computer might be getting tired. I'm not sure. Let's see. There's no freezing. So if cafe means coffee, then what's cafe? What's cafe in Mandarin? Well, you would say 咖啡馆, 咖啡馆. Yeah, so if you take location word, here's the simplest form of the formula, everybody. So location word plus a verb with 着 plus a noun phrase. This will denote that there is something somewhere. The most like a very common verbs that this is used with is 放, 写, 坐, 住. So like to place, to write, to sit, or living. Right? So the next is example. 我家楼上住着一个老师. So at the top of my building, there's a teacher who lives at the top of my building. That's what that's saying. So this is at the top of my building lives a teacher. This is how we say there's a teacher living at the top of my building. 上面写着320元. At the top is written 320 renminbi. Or you could say it says 320 renminbi on the top. Or 320 kuai is written on the top. Does that make sense? Let's see. And yeah, 桌子上, so on the table, 放着很多饮料. So on the table is placed many beverages, or you can say there are many beverages on the table. That's how we would translate that to English. So how do I say, oh, there are many beverages on the table? Location word, verb with 着, and the noun phrase. 桌子上放着很多饮料. Okay? And this is to denote the current existence of something somewhere, right? And it's meant to, it's not talking about how the fact that there might have been many beverages on the table in the past. No, it's right now and it's ongoing, right? It's implied that what the state of things right now is ongoing. There are many beverages on the table. Location, 桌子上放着很多饮料. How's that, everybody? Can you post more videos like this? Yeah, I'm probably going to leave this up. I'll probably leave this up. Well, everybody, it's been a fantastic hour here. I'm so touched to see so many people from all over the world take an interest in Mandarin Chinese, and thank you for going on this journey with me and trusting me as somewhat of a guide for part of the process. Please, 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 if you enjoy this kind of content, please like and subscribe, share the channel, but definitely subscribe. It really, really helps out a lot. It stinks to have to ask, but it really helps. You know, it really does. So much appreciated. As always, I will try to, in every single live stream or video, I'll try to respond to as many comments as I can, as many comments and questions as I can. If you are just starting out learning Mandarin Chinese, okay? Let me try to play those videos again, because your dreams can come true with Mandarin Chinese. Mine did. Mine did, and this is what that looked like. Commercial that aired all over Australia and Europe. The Ellen Show didn't happen in China. That was something else. That's right. Beijing International Film Festival. So, oh, what happened to my, oh dear. There we go. Clicking the wrong buttons now. So because I learned Mandarin Chinese and I was able to do it as an adult, so can you. All right, I did all this as an adult. I didn't grow up in China. I didn't have a Chinese speaker in the family. I did not marry I didn't marry someone who was Chinese, actually. So I did not learn from a close relationship or from my home environment. I had to learn the hard way, just as an adult student, right? And how did I maximize the speed at which I was able to do that? I made sure to respect the tones from the beginning, tones and pronunciation. And then I applied my passion for acting and performance in movies into the Chinese market, and all my wildest dreams came true. So, if you are wanting to learn Chinese for some reason, I got a lot of people in my focus group who, some people want to communicate more deeply with a Chinese partner or spouse. Some people want to open a company in China. Some people want to just have a fun international adventure. I have one person who wants to work in a Chinese museum, which is amazing. Everyone has their own reasons. What I want you to know is it is absolutely possible, right? You just have to take the right steps, okay? And I really, really implore you to focus on tones and pronunciation at the beginning. If you already have been learning for a while, make sure that you solidify your tones and pronunciation. Go to the ChineseDojo.com and please sign up on my waiting list. You'll get a pop-up, or there'll be somewhere where it says join the wait list. I'm going to send everyone on the wait list the best offer I can give for my tones and pronunciation course, which includes theory and practice videos, quizzes to test your comprehension, and also actual human feedback where you record voice samples and audio recordings. You send those in to me, and we evaluate your tones and pronunciation and give you feedback and help you tinker and tweak and perfect your tones and pronunciation. Let's say, do you have any online classes in your waitlist? This is going to be the first class. I've been working on this for over a year. I've been working on this platform for over a year, which is pretty wild. And I can show you like a live demo, you guys. I know I'm showing these little slides here, but I can show you what it looks like on a mobile device. I'm going to load it. I don't want to accidentally share any confidential information from the students who are currently doing the very first round. But all right, check this out. Yeah. So as you're fanning through, sorry, there's kind of some glare, huh? So there are these different modules, right? And so if I click into one of these modules, you'll see that these modules have multiple videos, quizzes, and practice sessions, right? So let's click into a video. And I want to show you what this is going to seem like. 你今天怎么样? In this video, we are going to learn the initials B and P and the finals U, R, and E. So that's like a 34-minute lesson that includes practice opportunities. And then you have assignments like listen and repeat. And so you would play this audio. Na, 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 na. Le, 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 le. Mo, 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 mo. So that's a listen and repeat exercise, and then you would record your own version right in the app. So you would click the little microphone button. Na, 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 na. Le, 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 le. For example. Then that recording shows up right there, so I can play that. Na, 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 na. Le, 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 le. And that would get sent to me when you submit that assignment in. Oh dear, I didn't want that to stick in that section. Okay, anyway. Let's get started. Anyway, so that is pretty cool, right? Oh, someone asked if it works for higher levels like HSK 3 and 4. Oh my gosh, absolutely. Is the person who asked that question still in the chat? Sorry, I wasn't seeing the chat. Absolutely. In fact, it might even be more crucial in some ways. So check this out. If you're HSK 3 or 4, right, that means that you have somewhat of an expanded vocabulary set and an understanding of grammar. But your tones and pronunciation aren't necessarily that great. And in my experience, if people have not focused a lot on tones and pronunciation, they could get all the way to HSK 6 and honestly have quite terrible tones and pronunciation. Meaning all of those words that they have memorized up to that point are memorized incorrectly. The tones are all wrong. And so what's great about this course is you would go through and you'll probably see a lot of characters and words that you recognize, but you'll find out that you haven't been pronouncing them correctly. And we'll fix that. And much better to fix it earlier rather than later. You don't want to have to unlearn the entire language just to learn it again. Learning Chinese the second time would be more difficult than learning it correctly once. So, my mom told me a trick to say the fourth tone as a deep low tone. Low tone. Carson, I would say no. No to mommy on that one. These are the four tones, okay? So when we see this graph, what is high, medium, low? We are looking at, what's wrong with my pen here? High, medium, low is kind of the span of your normal speaking range of pitches. So medium is like your normal speaking voice. So for me, my medium is right here. High is toward the high end of your normal speaking range. Low is at the low end of your normal speaking range. The fourth tone actually begins at the height of your normal speaking range, and then immediately your tone begins to descend. Okay, so let's take a simple syllable, ma, and give it the four tones. Ma. First tone, right? Ma, 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 ma. Again, ma, 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 ma. So if your mom was talking about a low tone, she might have meant the third tone, which some people refer to sometimes as the low tone. I don't really like to refer to it as that because, I mean, it's lower than the others, but anyway, it's a falling and rising tone. It's not just low. If you're speaking very quickly, a third tone might sound like a low note if you're speaking really quickly, but the slower you speak, the more you hear this this falling and rising nature to the tone. The fourth tone actually begins where the first tone lives. Right? So if my first tone is ma, ma, I need to begin my fourth tone on that same pitch, but just as I begin it, just as I start speaking, the pitch is going to fall. Ma, ma. Does that make sense? Ma. I did not go to a Chinese university. I went to a university in Oregon. And I did not even, my major was chemistry. I took an intro course to Mandarin for a few months in college. And then I went like years without practicing it at all, like 6 years. And then when I was in Los Angeles, I got an audition for a movie. And they needed a young American actor who could speak Mandarin. And luckily, I had remembered a couple phrases from the intro course in college. And I got the role. And that is what taught me that's what made me take a step back and think, oh my gosh, a Western actor who speaks Mandarin is a very rare kind of individual. I bet if I really take Mandarin Chinese seriously and go learn it, Chinese movies that need Westerners would have to consider me. Mathematically, they would just have to consider me because there are so few Western actors who speak Mandarin. So that's what I did. I packed bags, I moved to China, and I started learning Chinese. And within a year and a half, I had millions of followers on Chinese social media. I was on a traveling Broadway show as a lead, doing doing science experiments, all in Chinese on stage. and I got to be in big budget TV shows and movies and stuff. Let's see. I mean the third tone. Oh, Carson. Carson says I mean the third tone. Okay, sorry. So I guess that whole spiel about these tones you didn't need, or maybe you did. I don't know. I hope that was useful. 他不是你的兄弟，他是你的老师。我可以当你们的兄弟啊，可以当你们的兄弟。I can be your 兄弟。So 兄弟 is like bro. All right, 兄弟 is like bro. 兄弟. So you say, hey bro, hey 你好兄弟 or hey 兄弟好久不见 Awesome, everybody. Yes, well, please, if you enjoyed this, if you thought that was helpful, right? If you're just starting out, or if you are semi-advanced and need someone to really confirm with you that your tones and pronunciation are solid, let me help you. Let me help you fast track your road to fluency. Please go to the ChineseDojo.com and join the waitlist. Don't miss out. The people who are on that waitlist are going to get the best deal. So even if you might be interested, just get your name on that waiting list. And when I send you the offer, if it's not for you, you don't have to take it. But I would say join the waitlist anyway. Why not get the coupon? Why not get the deal anyway? Drew says, I'm just now starting out. You are in the best place, my friend. You're in the best possible scenario. 我的兄弟, my brother. Okay, well, today we did a lot. We did a lot of awesome stuff. We covered a financial news article that I pulled from a Chinese website, finance.eastmoney.com. We learned all this new vocabulary. We know how to say Trump, right? We learned 特朗普公布周四巴西、加拿大、印度、瑞士出口商品关税包括系列贸易代表设定. We learned all this stuff. We did some practices, and we got to know each other a little bit, which is great. Yes, if you're in HSK4 Mobina, please join the waitlist for this course, because even if you can have a chat and explain yourself, if you can have some profound conversations, you may not realize, but unless you have really, really focused on your tones and pronunciation, which you might have, but if you've mostly been doing HSK and it's mostly reading and writing, there could be a major deficiency in your speaking, in your tones and pronunciation. So we can help you make sure that your tones and pronunciation are very solid. So please go to the ChineseDojo.com and join that waitlist, everybody. Random Toasty, what do? I'm HSK1. Then you absolutely need to join. Absolutely. Join the waitlist. Be subscribed. And guys, I don't know if you know me from the tongue twister videos. Those tongue twister videos, right? Like, the lion eating poet in the stone den, and all the other tongue twisters. Those tongue twisters are not meant to be like everyday sentences that I expect you to use at the bank or at the grocery store. Right? Those are tonal differentiation exercises. Right? So in those videos, I introduce a lot of useful vocabulary, sometimes kind of archaic vocabulary, but sometimes very, very useful words. Then I construct a tongue twister in the form of wen yan wen, which is like ancient Chinese poetry, to create a tongue twister. And it's really meant to help train our ears to differentiate and pinpoint the different tones. So if you can hear those tongue twisters and identify which of the four tones are on which syllables, that's when you know you have rock solid tones and pronunciation. That sound was a little scary. Did you hear that? I think either a raccoon or a bunch of squirrels just ran across the roof. That scared me a little bit. Yeah, so the tongue twister videos are meant to test tonal differentiation, because really in everyday, it's like training with weights on, right? If you can pick out the different syllables and tones in those tongue twister videos, you will for sure be able to pick out the different tones in normal everyday speech. Because those tongue twisters are, I mean, that would be like really, really advanced kind of radical speech. It's basically like speaking in Shakespearean Old English. It's that equivalent for Mandarin Chinese. Also, the room is haunted. No biggie. Yeah. Let's see. As someone who lives in the U.S., doesn't have much interest in going to China, but loves Chinese tea, what are some unexpected wins of learning Chinese that I might be blind to? Okay. Meyer. Or is Meyer your last name? Or is it Mayer? Anyway, sorry if I mispronounce your name. It says you're a real estate consultant. I'm guessing there are many Chinese-speaking people who may want to purchase real estate in your area. All right, so if you run a business in the U.S., if you have no plans to go to China whatsoever, look, lots of Chinese people are moving here and investing here. I literally helped. I wasn't a real estate agent. I became one later. But I helped broker a real estate deal in Turkey. I helped a Chinese-speaking family purchase real estate in Turkey so they could get a second citizenship. Okay? Why did they choose me? Because they knew that I had the freedom to travel to Turkey for them, and they trusted me because they knew me and I spoke Chinese. So I became a real estate agent in Turkey just to broker this deal for 3 condos for a Chinese family. That's it. Right? So if you own any kind of business, if you're in real estate, if you're a dentist, if you're a lawyer, if you own any kind of business, you're going to have Chinese clients here in the US. And if you can even hold a basic conversation with them, right? Let's say you don't even learn Chinese to a super fluent extent, but you can introduce yourself. You can talk about the benefits of working with you versus others. You can, talk a little bit over a meal. You're going to land that client. The odds that you land that client are so much higher than someone who's not able to, break bread with somebody in their mother language. Oh my gosh, of course. Yeah. Look, there are, China, right, has one of the biggest populations in the world. You will find Chinese people most everywhere in the world. So if you can learn to speak Chinese, I promise you, you will be able to magnify your skill into that market, even if you're not in mainland China. You're going to impress employers, right? If you're an employee, if you don't have your own business, but if you're an employee, if you learn Mandarin Chinese, odds are the company you work for would have an interest in working with Chinese clients. And if you are the employee who speaks your native language plus Chinese, trust me, much harder to get rid of you in an economic downturn, but also odds that you can ask for a raise go up significantly. Right? So you can be a stronger entrepreneur and you can be a stronger employee. Right? So I would absolutely recommend that to everyone. Please join the waitlist. I went a little too much over, you guys. So thank you so much. Really, really incredible live today. Really, really appreciate it. Again, please join that waitlist at thechinesedojo.com. Thank you for supporting the channel. Please stay subscribed. Whenever you see the videos, it really helps out if you can like, comment, and share. And with that said, thank you so much. And I will see you in the next session, everybody. 下次见. All right? 再见. 谢谢大家. 谢谢大家. 再见.